Heyo, Greg Branos here for the Coach Speak Index. We are doing a Ball Mania 6th draft today, and I have a very special guest. He's one of my favorites. He is so funny. He is an original in a sea of duplicate entries. Davis Mattek, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for having me, Mr. Branos. Very excited to be here on the Coach Speak Index YouTube channel. Love the service that the Index provides, and hope that we're able to draft a shipper today, man.
I think we will. Got a lot of blue going on here.
Yeah, hold on here. Let me.
You changing yours up? You switching up the color?
There you go.
Woo!
There you go.
There we go.
We can't have blue background for you, blue background for the street. We can't have that.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll change it up there a little bit.
Only one person per color.
Correct.
All right, let's hop in a 30-second BBM 6 draft on Underdog and share this screen here with you.
Beautiful.
Here we go. Bindles. Good morning.
GM. I just posted this link in my Discord, so hopefully we've got some fellas checking in. Let me tell you, man, one of the greatest innovations of our time for streaming, the 30-second clock is great, but the 20-second clock for those of us who are just trying to get as many entries in as possible, we're talking like Underdog saving me weeks of my life. Truly, the math breaks out that if every person is to use their entire clock, the difference between 30 seconds and 20 seconds is 36 minutes
per draft. Wow.
Per draft. So every draft I do that's 20 seconds instead of 30 seconds, I'm saving conservatively probably 20 minutes, but probably more like 30.
Now this is a David Goggins fellow right here. He's stacking up all the, you know what? It actually reminds me maybe even more of the video of the guy where he's saying he's like manipulating time, right? He wakes up at,
oh yes. Yeah.
First day is
I have 4 days every day. My first day is from 12 to 6. Then my next one is from 6 to 12. Yes.
This guy is like, I've created time. I've created a new structure of days for everyone. It's like, no, you're just we all have the same hours. No, we're doing somebody says get CSI rankings on there. We're doing Davis's rankings. We always go with the guest rankings. Also, I've been getting a lot of shit for the way that my rankings are set up because I have them like I don't have the positions mixed. I just do all running back, all receiver, all tight end because my rankings are tiered.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I know. People hate it, but it's just, and I know I can just click on that or whatever. But I like to have kind of like a 30K view and just kind of cycle through the positions. But enough people are clamoring for just like regular type rankings that I think I'm just
frankly. So you draft most of yours on the computer, right?
I do, yeah.
So that's probably fine. That would big time mess me up on my phone. Big time. It would not be ideal.
Just because like clicking back and forth.
Well, because I don't. If I'm on my phone, I'm not just doing one draft at once, right?
Oh, okay.
So then I'm gonna end up auto drafting Tyler Algier in round 8 or whatever. Yeah. So can't have it out here.
Yeah, I got you. The only time lately that I've been multi-tabling was the Gilbert Arenas night. I was like, I got to get in as many drafts as possible before I get to sleep. Before I just nod off completely.
I frankly would not have thought of those as like that. Like definitely you're probably gaining about $2 of expected value, I guess.
But any edge is big
in those. Yeah.
And if you can get enough of them, right? Like it's not just $2 in one draft. It's like $2 in as many drafts as you want to enter that night.
Yeah.
Because I knew immediately from the first couple drafts I was doing with him that, he preset his rankings. He's clearly auto drafting. And I think he max entered. So let me get in one more draft and see if he's in there. So I got in another draft. One person was already waiting. I was like, this is probably Gilbert Arenas. And it was. So then I just did it for the rest of the night for like 11 drafts when I'd only planned on doing like one, maybe two.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, look, it's reasonable. I am just not at all interested in edge grinding in a 662,000 person best ball tournament. Either I'm going to win it or I'm not going to win it, Greg.
Yeah. It's like you're getting dealt a really good hand, like a high pocket pair at one table in the World Series of Poker, where they're like, the tournament just started. There are a shitload of tables. It's like, okay, like you can help obviously you help your edge in this pod at this table. And then we'll see what happens from there.
Honestly, that is a pretty good comp. It's like you're on the second level, second blind level of the main event, and you got dealt ace queen suited. So you re-raise pre-flop, flop comes, but then you have no idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
No knowledge of the flop. I wonder. I think the discourse around best ball would be a lot more tolerable if everyone was forced to have played 1,000 hands of poker.
I like that
in their life.
Yeah,
because I think what it is that best ball is a gambling game, like a game theory game, but everyone treats it like it's seasonal fantasy football.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, dude, you took all these players, you ruined it for everyone, you know?
Yeah.
It's just not how it works.
You do need so many things to go right in such a large field in a season long kind of format, but every little edge, every little thing I think helps. And okay, so like this is the very first step in this journey. This is the very first leg of this like giant parlay that we have to hit in order to win $2 million. So anytime that edge is presented, then we'll gladly take it. We could say every season is one hand of poker. Okay.
I kind of like that. Yeah. Maybe every season I think is like one ring around the table, one 9-handed turn.
Did you see the Stephon Diggs video with the bag of drugs on the boat?
Yeah,
allegedly.
That's a wide receiver one, brother. you think Randy Moss probably did drugs, right?
I don't know if he did coming out of where he did in West Virginia and probably seeing how that wrecked so many people.
Okay, Chad Ochocinco did drugs. Was Chad Ochocinco at the club?
I mean I could I don't want to say that like
I don't want to libel anyone on the stream, but I guess in my head I'm thinking like this is just diva wide receiver one behavior. I famously am on record as saying I would prefer my wide receivers to behave like divas.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? That is correct. Now that I said that about Ochocinco, you're right. He did actually. He was kind of one of the first guys to talk a lot about saving his money from his career and like living off endorsements and stuff. That was a big Ochocinco thing. So you're right. I do take that back.
Josh Dombrowski says that Ochocinco is addicted to McDonald's. We have the ninth pick, by the way. somebody, yeah, Kyle just said he has a 107 in this draft. He's on the clock.
What
Now, coming up on us.
I love taking McCaffrey here. What's the old CSI say about the health of his German engineered Achilles?
We absolutely love Christian McCaffrey. It's a lot of very positive talk from all the coaching staff and also from injury experts. You want to go with CMC?
Yes. Yeah. That's so right now.
I love it.
Right now, I'm taking a lot of CMC because I think he will probably rise to where Gibbs and Puka go if he's fully healthy. And frankly, it would not surprise me if we get to a point where we all just say, "Hey, what are we doing here? This is Christian McCaffrey. He's healthy. Why shouldn't we just take him first?"
Yeah, I'll talk about that in a second after we make this pick. I'm not sure that he has that much room to rise this season. We're one pick away here. Drake London, AJ Brown, Devon Achane, Lad McConkey at the top of your list.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just take whichever wide receiver here, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Don't think it matters.
Yeah. Would you rather Drake?
Yes, let's do Drake because we took a running back in round 1, so we're probably not gonna. We're also not gonna be in a great spot to take Hurts. Like we're at in round 5, we'll be at the part of the board where he's less likely.
Yeah, 57
to get.
Yeah, he'd have to drop.
Not that you don't get him there. You do get him there sometimes, but it's a little bit less likely. And now we've got Penix. A lot of what I think about is I just like to retain optionality in Best Ball Mania drafts. And so some picks like taking T. Higgins, like just really limits your optionality because unless you do get the Burrow fall, I'm never taking round 5 Burrow. So that is basically like wiping off. Or like you take Jerry Jeudy. Okay, well, you have no optionality there because you're not taking a Browns quarterback, right? So I just think about when you take a wide receiver, does it give you more things that can, like, trying to limit the amount of things that the room can do to you to make your team uncomfortable?
I heard you on, was it ADP Chasing yesterday talking about starting wide receiver in the first round, like absolute dog receiver in the first round, and then going 3 running back, and then going back to wide receiver. I think that's a very interesting strategy in the landscape this year because there are a lot of really good running backs that you can get in rounds 2 to 4.
Yeah. So London, I think doesn't quite qualify for that because he is certainly. I think there's a pretty big tier break from like Nico, BTJ to London, but
absolutely.
So let's say we got Wandelio here at the 1-7 who's in the chat. He takes Puka. It would be totally fine for him to take 3 straight running backs, I think, after that, to go Breece Hall, Amari Hampton, Joe Mixon, or whatever.
On CMC, by the way, just like looking at the board here, I don't see him jumping a lot of these guys. Ashton Genty, absolutely. I think enough people will take Malik Neighbors and Amon-Ra and Nico above CMC this drafting season, and Puka, obviously. I'm not sure if I have McCaffrey ranked above Gibbs, but I'm not sure other people will ever get to that point, or at least the consensus, right? Or a majority of people get there. So I'm not sure I see 7 ADP for him. We're 1 pick away. Rashee Rice, Tyreek Hill, JSN are top of the board for you right here. Breece Hall would be the top running back.
I mean, I think if we get Rice here, I think it's a smash.
Yeah, it'd be a nice ADP value if he were to fall here. All right, he's available. Take him. Dang. Davis Mattek is not.
Okay, give me the CSI, because there's something I've noticed about coach speak in general and then the specific product that you provide, which is there will generally be one quote that kind of becomes gospel in the best ball community, right? So like you made a note of this yesterday with like Daniel Jones, right? So there's this quote going around about, oh, we need consistency at the quarterback position. So everyone's like, oh, well, Richardson's dead. And then you were like, actually, this is a month old.
Yeah,
we've kind of known this.
Yeah, everyone said that the Colts keep saying they keep using the word consistent. It's going to be Daniel Jones. It's like, well, they have said it a couple times in the past, but the one that's being put out today, like this is not a third time that we're hearing it here. This is from a month ago, and nobody noted that. It's not even noted in that article that was quote tweeted from 32 beat writers. Like there's no date. The date of the article is May 20th, I believe. So obviously it wasn't a quote from yesterday, but like there's no dates attributed in the article to like when did Steichen actually say this?
Yeah. So the point I'm making is that there's this Rashee Rice gospel going around, like all the most recent things we've heard, like Drew Davenport.
Sorry, we're on
Breece
here. Yes, let's go, Breece and CMC, London and Rice. Like what a start!
That is.
This is the nuts.
That's four dudes who have either been round one picks or top. I guess Rice last season in the big board was a top 20 pick. So not quite there, but close.
Well, he was returning 1-2 turn value before Mahomes blew his knee up on that interception.
But are you hearing things that are making you feel positive or negative about Rashee Rice's availability in 2025?
I don't think we've actually heard a lot from the Chiefs. I'll check the Discord here real quick. Andy Reid on April 21st just said Rashee Rice and Jared Wiley are doing well. I can't tell you when they'll be back exactly. They're both busting their tails and running. So that's really kind of the only thing that we've gotten on him lately. The last quote on him was from February. So really right now, all we have to go on is injury doctors or injury experts who are looking at this stuff online. And that stuff seems to be pretty positive on Rice. I think a bigger question for me than the injury is like, what are the roles in this offense? Because yeah, we know Rice is so good in the intermediate short part of the field and in the screen game, but they used Xavier Worthy there a lot last year after Rice was out. So like that's another person who can do that stuff. Obviously you have Travis Kelce, who works in that part of the field as well. Like, does Xavier Worthy eat into some of those kind of short design touches that Rashee Rice used to just kind of soak all of those up, and then also get kind of the field stretching stuff on top? I think there's a scenario where Xavier Worthy ends up being a better pick than Rashee Rice, and I think I don't think it's like over 50%, but I think there's a scenario where he just like straight up outscores them in fantasy.
I mean, it's just, there's this interesting thing with Worthy where he got much better as like an actual player last season. Mm-hmm. And the market is sort of making the assumption that is just who he is, that the sample of what he did in year one was who he is. And my interpretation would be there's just room for Worthy to become a better player over the course of the season. And if that is true, then yeah, I mean, just because we've seen in the modern NFL guys who can generate the high ADOT stuff, Nico Collins, BTJ, these guys who can combine the 7-yard slants with the 18-yard post routes, just have a much higher ceiling. So I would not be surprised if Worthy outscores Rice, but I would be surprised if he significantly out targets him.
We're on the clock here. RJ Harvey, Chuba Hubbard are at the top of your board. We got 2 running back, 2 wide receiver right now. Jalen Waddle will be the next wide receiver, and then Adunze has a week 17 correlation.
I think it's Waddle that gives us another quarterback. Waddle or Rome. It's your account.
Okay,
I'll let
let's
you
do
choose there.
Rome. Wouldn't mind getting some
I
here.
couldn't be more bullish than consensus on Caleb Williams. I am comfortable saying everything that happened last year with Shane Waldron and Matt Eberflus, just calling that a wash. Calling that, you know what I'm calling it? I'm calling it the Jaden Daniels Arizona State season for him. Jaden Daniels, 10 touchdowns, 10 interceptions at age 21 at Arizona State. I'm going to call that the same thing for Caleb Williams.
Coming up here in 2 picks, Chuba Hubbard, Chris Godwin, Chris Olave, Juwan Jennings, Travion Henderson at the top of your board here.
I honestly could hear an argument for any, probably take the ADP valued with Hubbard.
Hubbard's gone.
Okay.
So
right.
Godwin, Olave, Juwan Jennings.
Godwin adds Baker. Jennings adds Purdy. Let's do the teammate correlation.
Yeah.
Let's do the week 17.
Jennings, absolute dog.
Yes.
In all aspects. And Niners love this guy. I think he's an absolute stud. We've seen them use him in the past on third downs because he's so reliable. Like, that's a great feather to have in your cap of just, hey, we need to play. We can go to this guy, right? So that guy's staying on the field. He's going to be playing a ton of snaps for the Niners this year, regardless of when Brandon Ayuk is back and full health. Going through some of things in chat here. Randy Moss did admit to smoking weed before most games. Tested positive in 96. That's why he didn't play at FSU. I got a question here from Kyle, who is in the 7th spot. He's the one in the 7th spot. Do you think running back wide receiver stack is better, or non-running back wide receiver stack is better? Similar values.
If he's asking what I think he's asking, I just think that in general correlation is gonna boost you. You know what I'm saying? Like, teammates being together, there are lots of ways that win. One, it can win in one game. For this game in Best Ball Mania, the way you win is teams are just way better than anticipated, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the best example of that is the 2023 Houston Texans, where if you would have just taken a bunch of Texans together, you were just like smashing the field because it was just way better than anticipated.
70 or something. Tank Dell was going super, super late.
Nico's in a wide receiver 50 or whatever.
Man, wow.
Yeah.
Sladen says Danny Dimes is not the kind of consistent coaches seek out. Yeah, that I feel like that's lost a little bit. People are more like, oh, like Anthony Richardson is not consistent, so this is going to have to be Daniel Jones. But like Daniel Jones, he's like consistently ass for quite a while now.
Yeah. That is the interesting thing, is that the tenor of the conversation is that they're probably over Anthony Richardson, but it's not even like they have an Andy Dalton level backup. It's like, dude, your backup's Daniel Jones. What are you hoping to get there?
Do you think the win totals that they need with each quarterback in order to keep their jobs is the same with Daniel Jones as it is with Anthony Richardson? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 9 games. I think the line for Steichen, maybe Irsay passing away changes that. Truly.
Yeah. I was thinking a lot about that. I believe it does. And like Chris Ballard was already kind of in hot water with Jim Irsay. I imagine he'll be in hotter water now, or like, the leash isn't as long. We're on the clock at the top of your board. Caleb Johnson, Tony Pollard.
I think half round ADP fall here on Caleb. He's just so much more likely to go on the left side of the board than the right side of the board.
Caleb Johnson?
Yeah. Yeah, like Caleb Johnson. If you have the combo ownership view, the Caleb Johnson, Christian McCaffrey permutations are going to be super low.
Yeah, you're saying just because the area of the board.
And McCaffrey always goes on the right side of the board, and Caleb Johnson is like pretty firmly anchored on the right side of the board.
And also usually different types of drafters, I think, kind of for each of these guys.
100%, non-questioned. Yeah, the Caleb Johnson drafter is not that into McCaffrey. I'm trying to do a much better job this year. Just really, I've said it a bunch. I'm just trying to draft like Mike Leone this year. I'm just trying to take ADP values, kind of have smooth exposures, focus on the macro stuff as much as possible. So I think we take Burden or Igbuka here.
Okay.
Burden is the correlation. But Igbuka just feels like, man, isn't he just like, feels like the slappies are kind of missing the forest for the trees. Like this is a guy who's 19th overall pick in the NFL draft.
Yeah, you want Igbuka?
You do. It's both are good.
Yeah.
Burden correlates. Igbuka is also good and gives us another quarterback too at our next pick.
Yeah, let's do Igbuka. Partly because I think Luther Burden's ADP is probably, we're going to see it fall a little bit with the soft tissue stuff.
Yep.
So we could see that ADP get to the triple digits before too long if he's just not back at OTAs. Skeletor is here only for the Davis Mattek FUD. GM Billy.
I do FUD many people.
Copy paste dates says
this was some good coach speak.
Think he's the wide receiver one. Yeah, this was coach speak that we're in that part of the season now where it's like this game of telephone and what was actually said gets lost in translation, which is weird because like the video is out there. All you have to do is watch the video and see the exact, listen to the exact words. But yet we still somehow these companies and on social media will mess it up and saying that they called Juwan Jennings wide receiver one. Well, no, the offensive coordinator did not refer to Juwan Jennings as wide receiver one. He said that Juwan Jennings' mentality is that he's the wide receiver one. That's the way that he thinks about himself, which is great. Like we want that from a player. We want these like confident diva type receivers. Billy says Jennings should be wide receiver one until Ayuk is healthy, but even then, how long until Ayuk is 100%? Yeah, I put it out a while back of people say, every coach when asked about a player returning from injury says that they're ahead of schedule, they're on track or whatever. But what we've been getting on Brandon Ayuk and Chris Godwin is like, we hope they're available for week one. It's not like they're ahead of schedule, which like maybe they are ahead of schedule and like the coaches don't want people to know that they'll be 100% week one, but it is not the typical, hey, this guy's way ahead of schedule stuff.
I'm with you. Yeah. I mean, I believe Ayuk is probably unlikely to be ready to go week one, but I'm always open to adjusting.
But taking him as like a wide receiver 4 or 5.
Yeah.
You get through the first month of the season. Like there's no buys.
I saw someone make this point on Twitter, and I don't even know who it was, and maybe it's even someone I don't like, but it was a good point, which is like if we take these rookies for back-weighted production, it's probably fine to take Brandon Ayuk for back-weighted.
Absolutely. And we know how great. Oh wow, Baker went off just before us.
We just do Caleb, right?
Caleb Williams? Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, because we've got the week 17 game.
Absolutely. Are you worried at all about with Caleb Williams, he's been a shotgun quarterback since like high school. Has played almost exclusively in shotgun, and now the Bears want him to play under center mainly with Ben Johnson's offense, and they're saying, hopefully he picks it up. Hopefully he'll be comfortable with it. If not, like we'll have to kind of figure something out. But it's clear like they want to be an under center team and make him an under center quarterback. Like, do you think there might be any kind of growing pains early in the season, or is that something you're just not worried about with Caleb?
No, I really don't care, man. It's just I watched, I don't know, Caleb Williams, I think, had like 1,300 dropbacks in college. I probably watched 1,000 of them. I just think he's really good. And maybe it'll just turn out like he doesn't have the processing or whatever, or he developed bad habits that he can't unlearn after a tough rookie year. That's all totally possible. But man, we're talking about a dude who like at 18 in college football looked like, better than Trevor Lawrence did when Trevor Lawrence was 18.
Mm-hmm. One pick away here at the top of your board: Kyler Murray, Bo Nix, Evan Ingram, Tyrone Tracy. We're on the clock now.
I think we do Ingram here. Ingram or Tracy.
Yeah, Ingram gives us a week 17 correlation with Rashee Rice. Want to go Ingram?
Yeah, let's do it. I forgot about the man. That
Bow
game's
and arrow, brother.
Probably not going to be a great game, frankly.
Yeah,
but what can you do?
A lot of Daniel Jones talk. Daniel Jones has the same stats as Trevor Lawrence. Not that bad. Been with the worst team in football.
Okay, that is not true. Daniel Jones' best season doesn't even come close to Trevor Lawrence's worst season.
It's some real Trevor Lawrence slander.
Okay, you know what? That's not fair. Trevor Lawrence as a rookie was like legitimately Daniel Jones bad, but the next 2 years he was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
He was awesome 1 year, good 1 year.
All right. What if Daniel Jones needed a new system?
I guess, it's just so funny. Your priors stick with you on these guys forever. Like, I didn't like Daniel Jones at Duke. Like, I thought Daniel Jones was a terrible draft pick when the Giants made it.
Eighth overall or something like that?
Sixth.
Jesus. Wow. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I don't think I said, somebody asked like what the drugs were or whatever. The Stephon Diggs boat video, I think it was pink cocaine. It appears that's what it was, which is not actually.
My chat on the video we just did had a name for it. It started with a T.
Yeah, it's like
Tulsi.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm way
MDMA and
I am way too old for that, man, to know what any of that is. That is so far past my day, dude. I'm a 32-year-old guy who lives in the suburbs in Missouri. I'm not up to date with the designer drugs. Yeah,
touching grass, but not that kind. 3 picks away. By the way, Kyle Williams went off the board at 107 in this draft. I don't know if that's Stephon Diggs stuff or just a slappy making a pick.
What's remind me of our wide receivers again?
Oh yeah, should have gone through this. Wide receivers: Drake London, Rashee Rice, Rome Odunze, Juwan Jennings.
Okay, we're probably looking at Penix then. What's the old CSI on Jaden Blue?
Just don't love him much.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and Joku is at the top here, has 2 playoff correlations. Tucker Kraft as well does. And
let's do Njoku. Njoku is just like 140 points, put it in the bank, and he'll probably have one crazy spike week. And if it happens for you at the right time, you are laughing.
Mm-hmm. And then you think we're good with these two tight ends then in Ingram and Njoku?
Yes, yeah, we could even do 3 quarterbacks too if we wanted.
Mm-hmm. Looking at QBs available, well, Trevor just went off. JJ McCarthy, Jordan Love are at the top of your list right now.
Yeah, I mean quarterbacks like literally whatever order. It should just be determined for you via your correlations. Like outside of like Fields, I guess. But the correlations are gonna determine that stuff. I think we do. I was gonna say Guerrero. We could do Jalen. This is probably pretty early for Jalen Wright. Could backstack McCarthy with Ty Felton, who I do really like, but we don't have any other week 17 stuff there.
Could also backstack Jordan Love with like a Romeo Dobbs
done. Sold.
Wicks.
I'm gonna be saying Dontavian Wicks just needs one more shot when he's playing slot in the UFL a couple of years from now. Yeah,
we will never quench the candle on Dontavian Wicks. We're keeping.
I mean, it's look, Dontavian Wicks is a freaking round 18 pick last year, and he led the pack. And I mean, this is a bet. You want to say you can always lie with data. Mm-hmm. Dontavian Wicks technically led the Packers in targets last year. By the letter of the law, you sort by targets, he did lead.
Yeah. He's so good at getting open. That's tougher than learning how to catch, I think. Just needs to get on that judgment.
You know what? Great point. Much harder to get open in the National Football League than it is to learn how to catch the ball or learn how to not body catch or whatever.
Yeah. Just needs to get on the jugs like Romeo Dobbs has been doing. I remember Matt LaFleur talking about Dobbs last season of, man, this guy's just always on jugs, like 200 balls a day this guy's catching.
I wonder if there are diminishing returns with that. I don't know. Let me tell you a guy who I've started to get
footballs.
Pretty woke to is Bigsby.
Okay.
Just because I think he and Tootin are both a great way to play the Jaguars are sick of the ETN experience, and I don't even really care. I mean, I think Tootin is probably a better player and more likely to be a spike week guy, but I do think Bigsby and Tootin are both really good ways to play that backfield.
I do think Bigsby embodies the type of running that Liam Cohen likes, which is, fast to and through the hole. I mean, he's such a zero in the pass game. I don't know if he can become anything more than that. But we've seen Cohen mix up his running back usage last year, and Bucky got there from just being so incredibly efficient, and then got a lot of touches at the end of the season. So, Tank could end up being a very game script dependent kind of guy. Maybe in games where they're winning by a bunch, he's getting a lot of carries. But the Tootin stuff is just really strong for me. Obviously, besides the fumble, but James Gladstone, pointing this guy out in his interviews before he even gets the job. Liam Cohen talking about all his missed tackles forced behind the line of scrimmage. And it's like, okay, well, who does that remind you of that Cohen had last year, right? It's like, that's a very Bucky-ish thing that Tootin can do. We're on the clock here. Trey Benson, Tyler Algier at the top of your list. Jalen Knoll, Austin Eckler, Xavier Legette. We got Dobbs, if we want to grab Dobbs here and stack them right around ADP.
No, I think let's take Roshan for the week 17.
Yeah.
And then we could take Wicks, because I don't want my opinion on Love would be that I think it is wish casting to think they go to like a high volume passing offense. The 2 years LaFleur's been the coach, they've been 17th and 31st in pass rate over expectation. The Kyle Shanahan offense is like, that offense is, KOC is really the only one who's been positive PROE, even McVay. I like Legette or Dobbs. I don't care which.
Okay. Are we? So yeah, we're probably okay. Yeah, we'll have room for another receiver later. I do like Leggett. There's been a lot of really good talk about Xavier Leggett from the
Yes, there
coaching
has
staff,
been.
both before and after the Tetaroa McMillan pick. And I mean, this is just like a Dave Canales type of player. Like he's going to be on the field constantly. Like he and McMillan, and then it's going to be, well, is it Thielen or Coker? Like how many snaps do those guys play? Is Thielen's body even holding up by the end of the season?
Yeah, I think Thielen will at some point have a run where he generates like 400 yards and 3 touchdowns over 5 weeks, and everyone will be like, "Dude, the old man, he just keeps doing it." And then the dude's 35 years old, and his body will break down. And Coker is young and will be out there. But yeah, Leggett and McMillan are going to be 80% of the routes from the jump. No doubt about that. And I think the Leggett ADP, I mean, Leggett was like fine last year mostly. I mean, he wasn't great, but it's not like he did not have like a John Baldwin, Jahan Dotson, like total bust rookie season at all.
And he has a skill set that I think is going to work really well in this offense when he's not the X receiver, when he doesn't have to fulfill those duties. He can be a little closer to the line of scrimmage and get some manufactured screens and do things that he's really good at. Billy asks, Josh Palmer breakout year loading. What do you think, Davis? I was actually looking at the Buffalo Bills team thread in the Coach Speak Index Discord, and there's a lot of very, very positive quotes about Josh Palmer, not just as a player, but like how he fits into the offense and how he's sort of a positionless receiver, and they can put him at different spots. How are you feeling on Palmer at his 150 plus ADP?
Yeah, Josh Palmer's got to be like, what's the point? Josh Palmer's been in the NFL for 4 seasons. He's played with Justin Herbert. Both of the 2 elite wide receivers he played with got hurt while he was there. He had opportunities to fill in for both Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. He's got 10 career touchdowns in 4 seasons. And this is like, it's a good offense. It's kind of like saying, oh, a wide receiver with the Chiefs. Like, that's sick, dude. You got a guy in a good offense. And then you watch the offense and you're like, wait, why did Tyrell Shavers just get that target? Like I think it is unlikely to be a great spot. But yeah, I mean, you take him with Josh Allen.
Coming up on our pick next, top of the board is Adam Thielen. We're on the clock now. Adam Thielen, Pat Bryant. Pat Bryant has correlation week 17 and 15. Michael Wilson.
Let's do DJ Giddens. Need a little bit of pop.
Yeah,
pop here at running back.
I like DJ Giddens. Feel he is very much locked in as the running back 2 in Indianapolis. They were talking before the draft how they wanted to bring in a second running back, somebody behind Jonathan Taylor, which is like kind of a mean thing to say when or to hear when you're the other running backs on the Colts roster. But obvious that they were not comfortable with who they had as RB2s. So DJ Giddens will very much be the front runner for RB2 there.
I mean, the other running backs are freaking. I think
back on the clock.
Do you want to take a third quarterback?
Yeah, I'd love that.
Do you want to take Dart and then take any Giant?
Dart
or Shuck and take some, Shuck. I mean, I'm fine with either of these guys on their own, actually. Darnold is fine. I'm a little bit.
He has a week 17 correlation.
That's fine. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
So I don't love Darnold because when your first thing that gets reported about your contract is the injury guarantee stuff, that if you fail a physical, it becomes guaranteed. That to me that immediately starts setting flares off in my head that the team has it in their head to actively be looking for an out.
I think it will end up being Tyler Shuck in New Orleans. People are treating it as if it's 100%. I think there's a very, very small chance that Spencer Rattler could end up getting QB1. I don't know if he would hold on to it for the season. But they're not down on Rattler. And I mean, a lot of people have doubts about.
Hey man, University of Oklahoma's own Spencer Rattler.
Oh yeah.
People forget that not that long ago in the time frame of our lives, Spencer Rattler was being mocked as the first overall pick in the NFL draft.
Oh yeah. I remember that. He was like, you could bet on him like a year out to be the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
A quick review of our team as we are 7 picks away. Got Caleb Williams, who has, as we can see, thanks to Spike Week correlation in every week of the playoffs. Here, Jordan Love, Sam Darnold. Running back, we have Christian McCaffrey, Breece Hall, Caleb Johnson, Roshan Johnson, DJ Giddens. At receiver, Drake London, Rashee Rice, Rome Odunze, Juwan Jennings, Emeka Egbuka, Xavier Legette, and then at tight end, Evan Ingram and David Njoku. How are you feeling about the running back room here? Like, you think we're pretty good at 5 here? With
I could see round 18 taking Brashard Smith or whatever, but it's when you do McCaffrey and Breece, like one of those dudes are not hitting. This team is destined for a 7th place finish
for sure. We're on the clock. Dontavian Wicks is there.
Yeah, gotta do Wicks here.
Yeah. I have a whole bag of Jalen Coker.
Yeah, they took McMillan, and I was like, okay, Coker's dead. And then I've realized that Coker is sort of just like Jalen McMillan, but on the Panthers. Like he's going to have some routes there anyways, but he also will have like just plays better than Thielen outs too, you know?
Yeah. And Canales is a coach that if a player is like, there's not a lot of loyalty there when it comes to, is this player going to improve our chances of winning this game, then we're going with that guy. Like, we don't really care what kind of draft capital he has or how long he's been here.
Right.
Like, we saw them cut the cord so quickly on Bryce Young last season. And we saw Jalen Coker as an undrafted free agent play like a ton of snaps with the offense.
Yeah.
We're 1 pick here for our final.
I think we take MVS here for the stack, or we could do Elijah Arroyo actually if we wanted to do that. If you like him better,
we could do Arroyo. Also, is Torrey Horton is available.
I do Torrey Horton. You take your pick.
I think, let's see,
Torrey Horton, another guy that I had just an absolute. I don't think MVS is even in my rankings. So you'd have to search for him. Torrey Horton, another guy I had huge big board bags of. So if he ends up hitting, that's like okay, cool. That worked for February version of me. But I don't like, round 4 pick. Definitely Torrey Horton will be behind at least 3 veterans to start the year. Albeit MVS could go to 0. We've seen MVS go to 0 many times, and Kupp could just like not be able to access any health.
Yeah. I think the bet on Torrey Horton is more him overcoming Cooper Kupp just being like super washed. With Seattle, I think it's gonna be really tough for their wide receiver 3, whoever that is, wide receiver 3 and down, to be productive, just because they're going to be in 12 and 21 personnel 50% of the time this year. Right. If you look at what Kubiak did in New Orleans and what they're talking about wanting to run this 21 personnel and 12 personnel because the running game is so important to them, then you're not going to have a lot of 3 wide receiver sets relative to the rest of the NFL. So yeah, this bet is kind of, he just proves himself as the second best receiver there. We know he has a good reception perception from Matt Harmon, and just has a profile that, like, if he becomes a hit, he can become a big hit there. And also we get the week 15 and 17 correlation. We'll review this team now. Quarterback, Caleb Williams, Jordan Love, Sam Darnold. At running back, Christian McCaffrey, Breece Hall, Caleb Johnson, Roshan Johnson, DJ Giddens. At receiver, Drake London, Rashee Rice, Rome Odunze, Juwan Jennings, Emeka Egbuka, Xavier Legette, Dontavian Wicks, Torrey Horton. And at tight end, Evan Ingram and David Njoku. How are you feeling about this team, Davis?
I like this. We got a good little balance. I've been trying to do some more 3 quarterback stuff. Just like, I didn't even realize that we had the double week 5 bye week. So it's good that we did. Darn, that totally slipped past me. Yeah. I mean, I don't think this team is like screenshot like, wow, dude, you just won Best Ball Mania, but it's like balancing out some things I'm trying to do, where got the week 17 game stack, getting ahead of the field on McCaffrey, kind of taking advantage of, I think Breece's ADP is too low, so I think it's pretty strong.
Yeah, Breece's ADP right now is crazy low, which means when he drops past ADP, it's just an insane value. Dan asking if I sauce teams. Yeah, man. I'm more than willing and able to sauce your team. I got the 103. All right, let's take a look at who was in the 103 here. FF Dan. FF in name. Okay, here we go. Davis, you can sauce along with me.
Wow,
Jalen Hurts and
Richardson.
Yeah. So okay, 1 QB build here is interesting. At running back, Omarion Hampton, Quinshawn Judkins, Tyrone Tracy, Bashal Tootin, Marshawn Lloyd, Miles Sanders. Okay, that's
slappy ass running back room. I just read the most literal bearish quote I've ever read on a running back. Hayden Winks just tweeted this last night. The details on Packers running back Marshawn Lloyd's rookie season are insane. 4 separate injuries, hip, hamstring, ankle, appendix. He's since gone to the Wisconsin University Medical Facility to test the imbalances in his body while moving. That is the most bearish sentence I've ever read about an NFL player.
Did you see the tweet about Marshawn Lloyd today?
Yes, he's with the rehab group.
He's with the rehab group.
He literally, I think in my next round of ranking updates, which I might have to do today, I literally might just remove him.
Wow. I'm gonna have to drop him a bit. I have a lot of him so far, just because like the opportunity there, and I mean, this is a guy who they were very excited about. If I feel like a good hedge on Marshawn Lloyd might just be Savion Williams, where they have this guy who can do kind of like Ty Montgomery type stuff, and last year LaFleur is just running Jacobs so much. The thing that he doesn't want to do, right? He wants to kind of keep his backfield fresh, but Marshawn Lloyd out, and they have an undrafted free agent behind Josh Jacobs, and then like a 6th or 7th round pick. I think that Savion Williams pick could have been some like, hey, we can get this guy involved in the backfield. 640.
Savion Williams is like my round 18 comfort blanket.
Yeah, I think, and he's not going drafted often, so sneaky little pick there. Yeah, Dan. I mean, you have a lot of running backs. I'll say that about this room. Wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, Terry McLaurin gets his week 17 correlation there. Devontae Adams, Deebo Samuel, Luther Burden, Alec Pierce, AD Mitchell. I do like the Alec Pierce, AD Mitchell stack there. It's like, okay, like one of these guys will give some spike weeks. So kind of combo in 2 receivers for one spot. And tight end, Jonnu Smith, Tyler Warren, Dallas Goedert. I mean, this is a pretty decent team besides the fact that it's just one QB, but it's a good QB to have in Jalen Hurts. We've seen, one QB builds before in fantasy.
I mean, look,
it's not.
I've relented. I think I moved Richardson down about 16 spots in my last rankings update, just because like the temperature feels bad. Like I'm not feeling good about what's going on with Anthony Richardson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the vibes haven't been great, but this is also where we can sometimes capitalize on opportunities if everybody is completely down on an offense and there's a, say, like 5% chance or 10% chance that the Colts actually run a very competent offense this year, and Anthony Richardson and his offseason work with, Josh Allen's QB coach and whatever, like maybe it works this year. It
didn't work for them, but maybe
it'll work for them.
Maybe it'll work for us.
Like what's the upside in Daniel Jones? What is he possibly gonna give you?
He just starts 17 games. He just plays well enough. The offensive line plays well. They have very talented receivers. Like if Daniel Jones, I'll say this. If Daniel Jones starts week 1, I feel more confident he doesn't get benched than Richardson doesn't get benched.
Mm-hmm.
That's really all, though.
I mean, maybe the most damning thing is the general manager, Chris Ballard, saying, I think both of these guys are going to help us at some point.
That is saying that Richardson is dead.
Yeah.
Now, if Richardson starts 10 games, I mean, he could average quarterback 3 points per game in those games or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I do think Richardson is great as kind of like a luxury third quarterback in, if you have something like,
it's
like Baker and Geno or something.
It's what do you win when you win?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is really obvious of what do you win when you win? Like you win a guy who was going in the freaking 5th round of Underdog drafts last year, who actually, and another bullish thing, if you wanted to view it this way, is if they've decided Richardson's not the quarterback of the future and they just want to get through this year, well, nope, don't protect him. Just be like, all right, dude, you're running 13 times a game. If you puncture a lung, you puncture a lung, whatever.
Yeah. They have 2 QBs with, sort of similar skill sets. Obviously, like Daniel Jones can rush, but the rushing that Anthony Richardson brings is just like so far above and beyond anything that Daniel Jones can do on the ground. But it would make sense to kind of run a platoon almost, like basically have a QB competition just every game, and having like packages or series or whatever.
Yeah,
I promise.
No, it's real.
I promised before we went live that we would talk about Jameson Williams, because I've been thinking a lot about Jameson Williams lately. There's been a lot of talk about him in the news. John Morton saying that, he's unbelievable. Like he's going to be even better this year than he was last year. And the reports of, how much he's just like locked in to meetings and everything. Pretty expensive ADP right now.
Right.
But And he's so polarizing of a player. If you guys watch or listen to ship chasing, ADP chasing, a lot of JMO talk there.
Well, those guys don't know anything,
In that range where he's going, I feel like you can find other like receivers who have a better chance of putting up like 1,400 yards.
Sure.
On the season.
Cortland Sutton probably outscores Jameson Williams.
Yes, but if we are looking at which player can put up 40 points in a single week, I would rather have Jameson Williams in the fantasy playoffs than Cortland Sutton. Obviously you're a JMO.
JMO would be one of the top guys that you would want to have get to the final.
Yeah. Like he could end up being a low advance rate player, but a guy that you 1000% want to have on your playoff teams.
Man, I don't even know if he'll be that low of an advance rate guy. He just is. He is a perfect fit for scoring. He is the 0.5 PPR guy in best ball.
Yeah, well, when I say low advance rate, I'm not thinking like because of him, but like if there are other players going in that area, like who do give you a better advance rate than Jameson Williams does, but obviously when you compare that player to Jameson Williams, like you would actually rather have JMO in the playoffs just because what he can bring on a single play. And I know people are worried about, oh, Ben Johnson's gone, blah, blah, blah. But Ben Johnson didn't take the playbook with him. Like they still have the plays that they ran last year. John Morton has said, like, we're not changing a lot. This is what you saw last year in terms of plays and playbook is pretty much what you're going to see this year. And maybe they put some variations or whatever, but he's obviously a super, super important piece of that offense and very explosive. Like Ben Johnson leaving doesn't mean that Jameson Williams, that Johnson takes JMO's explosiveness with him. Like he's still the same, just game changing kind of player that he was last year.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the other thing is, like, he's also the sort of guy I would expect to like play better because the start of his career has been so weird. The torn ACL, the gambling suspension, all that stuff. Like, I feel like his growth curve should be wider.
Well, that's why people were so out on him last year, and I was super in because, well, first of all, we get all the coach speak from Dan Campbell, who's super, super reliable with his coach speak, saying like, yeah, he's pushing to be the full-time starter. Here, he's taking a really big leap, expecting really big things from him. He has this breakout season, but people just like couldn't envision it because they hadn't seen it happen yet. And people have just such a tough time seeing, like envisioning things that they haven't actually seen with their eyes. If it hasn't happened, it's just not possible in their world. And this is why ignoring context is really terrible, because there was context behind why Jameson Williams hadn't hit. He had the gambling suspension. He came into the league with the torn ACL. Like he hadn't gotten time in training camp with a QB. Just all these things that you need in order to be a really productive player. And we finally saw that last year when he has a full training camp, when he's healthy, that this guy just broke out because his speed is different. And he's just a good receiver. So yeah, I don't have nearly as much JMO as you. I have hardly any right now, just because like that price to me is like feels very rich, but like I know it's an item that I need to purchase. But it's gonna hurt the wallet. But I need it. I just have to make that sacrifice and eat ramen for a couple weeks.
That's good. This is just good advice in general, brother. Stoic living.
Yeah.
Sacrifice now. to provide for yourself in the future?
Dude, this was so fun. I think this is a super fun team that we drafted, and I'm loving it. And I'm actually gonna, you know what? I'm gonna name it right now. Forgot to name it, so let's do that while you're still here with us. Next, or on Friday. Sorry, on Friday we're gonna have Andrew Erickson drafting with us. And next week is going to be a crazy week, doing double drafts on Wednesday. And Friday, have Justin Herzig lined up. Should have Field Yates and Josh Norris as well next week. And then a yet to be determined fourth guest. Can't name a team and talk at the same time. Here we go. Davis Mattek, guaranteed winner. And we are going to go.
That's what we like. We love a guaranteed winner.
We win this. We're going to go play. We're going to go play Augusta. I feel like we can buy our way into Augusta with a couple million. Right?
That is true. That is true. I think if you win $2 million, I think you can. Get yourself into Augusta National Golf Club.
Yeah. Davis, why don't you tell everybody what you've got going on and where they can find you?
You guys can watch all of my YouTube videos over at youtube.com/Davis_Mattek. All of my content is over on patreon.com/DavisMattek. So those are your two ways to get more.
Yeah. Go check out Davis's stuff. He's so great, so funny, and insightful, not afraid to put his takes out there. And whether you agree with them or not, it makes you reevaluate your positions on players, which I think is a very, very healthy exercise. So go check out Davis's content and sub to his YouTube channel. All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out today, and we'll see you soon. Peace.